This is Jonathan Ferguson, the Keeper of Firearms and Artillery at the Royal Armouries Museum in the UK, which houses a collection of thousands of iconic weapons from throughout history. And I'm your host, Dave Jewett. Today we're at the Royal Armouries in person for Christmas, our month-long series of very special episodes where we'll be checking out a selection of weird and wonderful weaponry from across video games and movies. Today we're looking at a selection of games from the Call of Duty franchise, from Call of Duty 4 to Black Ops 6.
So as far as I could tell, this thing, the magazine is also the barrel, and the reload animation, oh, it makes me wince. Slamming it down to seat it properly over the muzzle.
What? It's incredibly stupid. I don't like where this is going.
Why not? Let's just cook two guns.
I know.
Makarov. It's fine. You're fine.
For now, maybe.
Each episode contains a secret special Christmas gift for Jonathan. Stay tuned to find out what this week's gift is, and if you want to treat yourself, be sure to check out our selection of cursed shirts and accessories at expvideo.info. We also have a longer director's cut version of this episode over on our Patreon, which includes a few bonus weapons such as the HG40 from Black Ops 3 and an aftermarket M4 from Modern Warfare 3. Also, this video is sponsored by Rocket Money, but more on them later. But now, without further ado, let's get into the video.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, this old thing.
Yeah, this. Back when I was playing Call of Duty 4, I never got as far as unlocking the gold SVD, but now we've got an entire one in front of us.
I must admit, I didn't know it was a thing. I don't remember it being a thing. I must have been killed by people with it, I guess. First thing to mention, I suppose, is that we don't have the optic fitted to this. It did come with one. In fact, it came with some other stuff too. You had the very clever suggestion of us featuring it on, what's this weapon, on our channel. So it's not, unlike the one in the game, which has a gold...
It's got a gold
body.
mount and then like
it's just the mount, isn't it? Sorry.
Plastic.
Yeah, the scope body. The body of the scope. Obviously, the rubber cap is not gold plated. Turrets and everything. That's all just a normal optic. The real one that came with this is basically it's just a normal one. They just grabbed a normal one off the shelf and put it in the case. So we haven't bothered to put it on. Also, if we did, it would potentially mar the gold. The beautiful, I think you'll agree, gold finish on this thing. So this is. It is akin to that gold AK, which they were created. People see that and they think it's the only one. If they saw this, they probably think it was the only one. No, there were probably hundreds of these made for gifting, presentation. We sort of understand it as the Arabic concept of wasta, of sort of giving prestige and bestowing something upon someone and maybe expecting something in return. That kind of thing. And the same applies to this.
Well, I wanted to include it, like I said, because it was a fun excuse to get a golden gun in the episode. And, you know, we're starting here in Call of Duty 4, and this was really where things started to get strange or interesting in terms of customization. We start with the golden SVD, there's a golden Uzi, there's a golden AK, there's a golden Deagle, and then a few years later...
Though, sorry to interrupt, most of those you could find gold-plated versions of in real life.
Yeah, 100%.
All of them, I think.
But a few years later, a few Call of Duties later, then suddenly it was diamond-coloured guns, weapons covered in gemstones, camouflages that were like moving galaxies. So I think what we've seen here, and in Call of Duty 4, is the starting point of the camouflages getting wackier and wackier, because they're all to do with challenges. You know, if you master every weapon in the sniper rifle class, this is your reward. And all of those really sought after camouflages that carry bragging rights are gated by challenges, and the gold weapons of COD 4 is really where that started.
Gold-plated guns existed, chrome-plated guns existed, and I guess at this era not much more interesting than that. And so that they're taking their inspiration from stuff that exists, but then, like you say, more quickly than you realise, going crazy with it and doing stuff that not only doesn't exist but couldn't exist. But so it all started. You can blame the real world people who went around gold plating guns. Because I guess the 1960s onwards is probably when that first appeared.
I wouldn't call this cursed. I wouldn't at this point call the Call of Duty 4 gold SVD cursed. but I think it's like the distant cousin or great-grandfather of cursed video game weapons now.
Yeah, and certainly most people look at these gold-plated real-world guns. A few of them are kind of really keen on them. Generally, there's a raised eyebrow or even outright disgust. So it somehow feels right. It obviously runs counter to being at all tactical, to have a shiny gold-plated or chrome-plated firearm. It's all about show. That Reloaded exhibition, we had a couple of gold-plated guns, including this actually, alongside some genuinely crafted, beautifully finished things, some of which were of the same vintage. And there's a difference. Yeah, one of those is art, one of them is ostentation, isn't it?
You can actually buy some miniature versions of some of those beautiful weapons from the Royal Armouries gift shop. I've got a tiny gold AK badge at home.
I was looking for it this morning to put on my jacket and I couldn't find it. But thank you for referencing that. Yes, do check out the Royal Armouries shop.
I know I have. So speaking of a cousin of cursed, World at War was when we started to see optics on small arms, which looking at World at War now, these small sort of glass reflex sights feel restrained.
Sort of, but they really make me twitch. If we grabbed a gun for every gun, we'd be here forever, which is why you don't always see them in the videos. But we actually have like 3 of these behind us in the racks, but none of them have their magazines. The magazines are really rare. So partly for that reason, we haven't picked one up. You don't need to see the real gun to know that sight's not correct. I mean, often you'll find there is some either a known basis where they've based it on something that they've seen in a book or online, usually online, or sometimes people can dig out stuff that is a close parallel that existed in real life. This is not beyond the technology of the time to do it. This is just an etched reticle on a lens, isn't it? It's like a Galilean optic, only close to the eye. You could make this thing. It's just that if you dropped it or looked at it wrong, it would break. Some might argue that the Type 100, certainly from later on, is cursed enough and it probably didn't work very well. Last time I looked at the magazine when we did this display, it's over in the museum for our VE/VJ Day commemoration, small display, which will be coming out fairly soon. So if you want to see a Type 100, come and see us soon. The magazine is rough as hell. It looks like I've made it with like a curator's first brazing kit. Lots of grind marks on it, visible brazing seam down the side.
Is that just because at that point in the war, Japan was sort of, on the back foot?
I believe so, yeah. There's nothing inherently bad about Japanese firearms, far from it. But their sort of backs are against the wall. The submachine gun manufacturer didn't get going properly until late 43. So a lot of them are inherently late war. And the one that's on display is the first type. But they didn't get any of them into significant production until well into the war.
This video is sponsored by Rocket Money, the all-in-one personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower bills, and take care of your money better. Rocket Money can help you cancel unwanted subscriptions by pulling all of your subscriptions into a single list. From there, you can select the ones you don't want anymore, and Rocket Money can help you cancel with just a few taps. Rocket Money can also automatically scan your bills to find savings. With just a couple of taps, Rocket Money can help negotiate your bills for you, from internet service to cable and phone bills. No need to worry about customer service calls. You can let the app's negotiators go to work for you to try and get the best rate possible. Rocket Money is for US customers only, but if you are based in the US, then you can click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen to get started for free and join over 10 million other members using Rocket Money today. Thank you, Rocket Money, for sponsoring this episode, and now I'll get back to the video.
All right, so we're jumping ahead both in Call of Duty releases and into the future with Advanced Warfare now, which contains some interesting guns, let's say that.
The future as envisaged in 2014.
So as far as I could tell, this thing, the magazine is also the barrel, and the reload animation, it makes me wince, slamming it down to seat it properly over the muzzle.
What? It's incredibly stupid.
Yeah, it's rather odd, the magazine being the barrel, the reload animation of slamming it in with the palm of your hand.
How to keep it pointing in a safe direction. And yes, especially that. Like if you ever did have a reload system that involved removing the barrel, I guess they're going for some sort of metal storm superimposed load thing here. Then you'd need some kind of a collar on it to be able to get the purchase to pull it into place, or to sort of slam it down like this with the heel of your hand onto the collar, the flange, whatever. You wouldn't want to do that, would you?
So when I was researching for this episode, looking at this game in particular, and this gun in particular, the Metal Storm Maul was something that popped up.
This happens so often, looking at something like this and thinking, this is so dumb, it has to have been invented for a video game. And I won't say 9 times out of 10, but very often when I go and check, it is actually something real.
Yeah.
I think the first time I was conscious of that was the FAD
Yes.
assault rifle.
Yeah.
And I was scoffing at what a silly made-up video game gun. I went, oh, yeah, that's a real gun. Yeah, same applies. So although the reload is still not recommended, if you happen across a Metal Storm Maul, I guess it is a shotgun.
It is a shotgun that seems to be fed the same way with these replaceable tubular magazine barrels.
But yeah, this is it. This is a typical first-person shooter, taking notice of what's in the news, what people are excited about, putting it in their game. And that's where they got the idea for the replaceable barrels, well, full stop, but them being mounted in the stock as a backup, because it's an under barrel without that, or if you go standalone, it had 2, I think it was, spare barrel units. And the idea of a replaceable barrel unit for your reload isn't intrinsically stupid. I think this implementation probably is.
Well, it gets stupider as once I festoon it with nonsense, as you like to say, it comes to press, but it also means you have to throw away your suppressor alongside your barrel.
It's one thing to throw away, like a smoothbore tube isn't too expensive. And if it's sufficiently low pressure, you might even be able to 3D print that out of some reinforced polymer or something, I don't know. But yeah, if you've actually got a suppressor attached, you don't want to be throwing that away. Suppressed shotguns are a thing, something we need to cover at some point actually. But not this. And I'm not really a fan of whatever that is.
You're talking about the camouflage?
The skin. The camouflage. I'm trying to think of a scenario in which that would be camouflage. Maybe a 90s rave.
Well, you know...
Glow stick charm required.
I'm pretty sure there are. I think Call of Duty 2019 had
Yes,
charms
it
with
did.
glow
I
sticks
just
on.
remembered that.
Yeah.
I remember saying, is that a glow stick?
Spotted kill.
Right, now we're into Black Ops 3.
Oh, I know where this is going. Yeah, it's the Garand in space. I remember this.
To round out this experience, should we see a real one?
I suppose you should. To cleanse the palate, if nothing else.
There we go, that feels better.
I guess my thought this time is, why not do M14 in space?
I think there is
Why
an
revert to the
equivalent
clip-fed?
as well. I'm certain they just wanted to tap into some people's nostalgia. The people that wanted
Clearly, of course, it's where the franchise has come.
Yeah.
I get that, but I can't see us ever returning to the on-block clip system of loading. No. I will defend this in period as faster than a Rock-In magazine. This is faster. This is what I think partly why they left the clip guide on the, or had a clip guide on the M14. The Garand, fire 8 shots, goes ping, slam in another 8 shots, and you're good to go. It's a really good compromise between keeping it slim and light and not too complicated with high effective rate of fire.
Well, I'm going to assume that the name MX Garand in this implies it's the M10 Garand.
Oh, see, I would take that as X, as in better than the thing that came before, or like mystery, or unknown, or futuristic, or extreme, or whatever, some nonsense like that. Mainly because that's what Cheeky Sig did with the MPX. The X stood for better than MP5.
Well, even all those years later, even in the future, players still liked to make it go ping. And
I understand that.
That ping sound effect.
Fun is important.
Yeah, and Call of Duty has a long storied relationship with the ping sound effect, even using it as a menu sound effect in Call of Duty World War II. People of a certain vintage that have played these games that started in World War II, I think they have a visceral endorphin rush whenever they hear that sound in a video game now.
I mean, it's a good design insofar as it looks very different and sci-fi, and it's got some sort of almost carbon fiber stock/chassis thing on it.
Yeah.
But that ADS view is very M1/M14. Hard to differentiate the two there, but the ping definitely differentiates them. I guess the only thing that makes zero sense is it's kind of the same complaint from earlier, but if you're going to modernise literally everything, like nothing on this is actually M1 Garand. It's not like the M14 EBR where they've taken the barreled action and worked around that because that's what they had in store. Logically, someone has taken the concept of the M1 Garand, made a totally new gun based on it, and stuck with an 8-round on-block clip. John Cancius Garand himself would not have done that. In fact, his first design, I believe, was a detachable box magazine before they pivoted to the on-block clip. You're not going to limit yourself to 8 shots for a remake, effectively, of a classic firearm, surely.
Since it's in front of us, should we compare the sound effect of the iconic, to use that word, ping?
I think we'd get
We'll get comments if we don't.
Yeah.
If they see an empty on-block clip and the rifle in front of us, so people will be asking why.
We'll put an empty one in, and I'll try not to go around thumb myself on camera. That would be bad. I do have the problem with this system, I guess, in theory, that I have weird thumbs that do that. Weird, isn't it? And makes operating things difficult sometimes. So that puts it in. We fire our last shot. Obviously, in reality, the case would come out with it because you've got your last shot that it happens on, and we're trying to do this in a way that doesn't hit either of us.
That's good. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Infinite Warfare now with the VPR.
Oh. Oh dear. Oh dearie me. What on earth is this? Is this a double-barreled HK-53?
With side magazines.
How have I not come across that? Oh, the auto-eject as well.
Yeah, they pop out on empty, or you can manually eject them.
They look like kind of Magpul style.
In its defence,
style mag.
with some of the double-barreled weapons Call of Duty has included.
Some of the double-barreled. Here's the problem with your franchise. If you're able to say the phrase "some of the double-barreled weapons,"
Well, at least this one is implying there are separate feed devices or feed mechanisms and magazines per barrel.
yeah, it's quite thick.
Yeah. It could feasibly be 2 guns smushed together rather than a gun randomly being able to shoot from 2 barrels.
It's the HK equivalent of the Gilboa Snake
Yeah.
AR, dual AR, where it's one entity, but essentially two sets of barrels and operating systems, which is mainly for legal reasons, I gather. But nonetheless, if you want double barrel and 2 mags, you've instantly got 2 guns in one. It's the only way to do it. Well, I guess other than some super convoluted engineering solution. But yeah, I don't know. I can see why you would do this, but I wish you hadn't.
I didn't need to do much to this design. Yeah, definite HK inspirations.
Undeniably,
Yeah.
yeah. And I suppose I can take solace in the fact that they didn't do it to an MP5 with like big, long, curved 9mm mag sticking out. Of course, you get a bit of an FG42 vibe from the short side-mounted mag as well, and a bit of a Burton machine rifle
It sounds like you don't hate it that much.
vibe. Just because I recognise things doesn't mean I don't hate them. You have to first recognise something before you can despise
If you're gonna hate it properly.
No, as I often say, it's a cool design, begrudgingly. A sort of a compact but wide package with a ton of firepower.
That's what they say about me.
Enemy paratroopers in the sky!
Jumping into World War II.
Set the time circuits for 1945.
So this is a very interesting
Isn't it, though?
weapon. Yes.
So there is, is there a good, I was going to say there's a good article on this. There isn't. There's a terrible article on it written by, what was his rank at the time? Atwood was his name, and he made stuff up.
Yes, he was a serial fraudster, James P. Atwood.
I wasn't going to say this, but yeah.
Yeah. This is believed to be a fake gun made by someone who was, at the time, a fraudster making fake Nazi memorabilia. And it came, was it the 60s? Or many years later?
I think
he said, I've got this prototype suppressed bullpup German weapon. There's only one of them. and tried to sell it off as something real, but it's believed to be something that he made.
Well, he did what a number of people have done over the years and cook up a story and then write the definitive article or publication about the thing, thus legitimizing it. Although the way to do it sensibly is to get someone else to write that, rather than the guy that claims to have found it in the rubble in 1944. It wasn't found in rubble in 1944. It was probably made in Berlin in the 50s, early 50s. But it's a fascinating design. Like, where it's almost a shame when these things get these nonsense stories attached to them, because this thing's really cool.
Many decades later, Call of Duty World War II used it as a source of inspiration to introduce a strange, unknown weapon into their arsenal.
I didn't know this was in the game.
I didn't
Or
until I
any
went
game.
back to replay it to find some interesting guns for this episode.
I can't remember what the inside of the suppressor looks like, but they're doing what some modern suppressors do, and creating a lot of volume in the vertical plane. So it looks like a double barrel thing that's not a bullpup, but as you can see from the mag in the buttstock, they run the barrel through the semi-pistol grip stock to the actual, well, you could sort of draw it on there. I think someone has done that. And the rest of that is suppressor.
It's immensely quiet in game. The hit markers are louder than the gunshots.
I don't remember what sort of decibel rating this is supposed to have, and that's not very helpful to know anyway, because you need to know the protocol and ideally have other stuff fired at the same time to be sure what the comparison is. But suffice to say, for 9mm, is this going to do the MP5 SD thing and make it not supersonic? Like mechanically interesting guns that also have a load of fascinating history behind, like intrigue, or, you know, they're some of our favourite things.
Yeah, fascinating thing, even if the story that Atwood told isn't true, the sort of rumours and mystique around it now have made it interesting, and like you said, a very interesting piece of design. It's,
as always, myths and folklore and legends and BS tell us more about ourselves than history.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, one of your favourite Call of Duties, I believe, is fair to say?
Yeah, I think that is fair to say. Not my favourite L85 though.
Or should we see a real one?
I suppose we
Do a
should.
comparison?
Yeah, the big standout here, just from first person view, that's wrong is, well, I guess 2 when we hold it. Well, God, I'm having flashbacks here of looking at this before, but so let us count the ways. The handguard doesn't look right, it's the wrong shape, it's just kind of, looks too sort of solid plastic. It's missing some of the sort of ribbing. It's got a rail thing on the side, so that's and it has then it has a Picatinny rail on top of this not strong enough, not robust enough, not stable enough. This is just a cover for the gas parts. This is not for mounting any kind of rail on. In fact, there we go. So you can see your your operating rod and your piston in there. The quad rail from Afghanistan era, if only someone had written a book with the correct information in it, and is been made harder to open, but even then you're not supposed to put any kind of sighting system on there. Then we have the pistol grip, which has a great big screw through it, top and bottom, which isn't on the real thing. That feels like an instruction to change it to make it legally different. So this is that beginning of stuff being overtly legally different. And then our mag catch, Battlefield 6 may have got that a bit wrong with like using the mag to hit the mag catch. That's just the wrong mag catch. It doesn't make any sense. Even all the airsoft replicas get that right. That's just wrong and doesn't make any sense. The wooden furniture. No, not wooden. It's Bakelite, isn't it?
I thought.
No, it is wood.
Yeah, it's wooden furniture.
It's wood that looks like a phenolic resin polymer, because you couldn't really carve a wooden handguard that looks like that. Well, you could, but it would be difficult.
Well, have you noticed what's inscribed on the side of the weapon?
No. Royal Armoury. No way. Is that deliberate?
So this weapon set came out before we ever talked about Call of Duty 2019. They must have been aware of the Royal Armouries, but there is the Royal Armoury is an in-game firearms manufacturer.
It's Enfield.
So
Yeah.
I think that might be what they're referencing. There's probably some obviously awareness that when they typed in Royal Armoury, they would have come across this museum. But I think they're referencing Enfield.
They're referencing the Royal Small Arms Factory at Enfield, I think, which effectively was the replacement for us when we were issuing Arsenal that made stuff. Well, we weren't called the Royal Armouries then, funnily enough. It was just the Tower, or the Tower Armouries. The Tower Armouries is kind of what was left after we stopped making stuff. And
But how could I not show you an L85 with the word
I didn't
Royal
know it had
Armoury
Royal
on it?
Armoury on it. Yeah, I mean, wrong spelling.
Oh yeah, is it?
Yeah, that's ironic. Like, whether they were referencing us or not, and probably not, it would be spelled with a U.
Even if they're referencing Enfield
on the gun.
being British, it would.
That's what I mean. Yeah. But it's nice that it's on there. I have really mixed feeling. I'm less upset about the wooden furniture on this because it's already quite different to the real thing, I think. Makes it look a bit EM2, obviously. Also reminds me of the Keltec PL43 or something? Can't remember. From over a decade ago, like 2012, Keltec came out with a really cool looking, like fictional Cold War bullpup, and then a polymer furniture, kind of more modern looking stablemate for it. And I haven't seen it for years, but I thought they were really cool. And that was before games were really coming up with their own takes on things like that.
I believe in the Call of Duty 2019 universe, this weapon manufacturer is meant to be like a boutique, sort of high-end weapons manufacturer.
Are you telling me this is a Holland & Holland SA-80?
It might very well be.
God forbid. Good old MP5, and really quite a good one, actually.
Well, the Royal Armoury also make an MP5 or customise MP5s. Now, MP5s with wooden furniture, I really enjoy. So I sort of like this.
I always have mixed feelings, because it sort of feels so wrong it's right.
Yeah.
But not always. Some of them just look a bit crap. But nicely made finished wood. Or an AR-15 for that matter, or an MP5 or a G3. Well, I guess G3 makes more sense. Where I guess the Picatinny rails on a wooden forend kind of ruins it for me. I even don't mind the little, overall though I quite like it, and I even don't mind the little gold highlights on this.
Tastefully done, some may say.
Moderately so, yeah. And as people were keen to point out, viz the Battlefield 6 reload. This is the more correct reload. Not that it's wrong in 6, and I would argue if the pace of combat in these games, you would just be jamming on the second mag onto a closed bolt. You wouldn't, unless you physically couldn't make it happen, you just do it. And people do that in real life and get told off by HK instructors for doing it. But this does the classic reload, albeit without a full-on slap.
It's more
It's kind of
reserved
a
slap.
subtle, which would work just fine. But HK themselves tell you to slap it, so you should. So yeah, we couldn't resist plonking one on in front of me there, but we don't need to itemize this one.
No, you can tell that there's the lower they use in this model is definitely inspired by this version.
Yep. It's what people tend to think of as the early version, but you can still get versions of this with this. I don't.
Well,
HK don't do this anymore, but they overlapped in the catalogue for like a decade.
I think that's one of the big changes from the base model that uses one of the more modern lowers.
Oh, okay.
And then when they customize it to make it look a bit, give it a sort of more classic look, they switch to one of the older lowers.
Although, yes, they do. So I was going to say that looks almost like the steel HK94, but it's not. I think it's meant to be plastic, just a bit different. I guess they went for something that was more ergonomically universal with the straight flared grip. This, if you happen to have hands that fit it, is super comfortable. This version, with the thumb rest and the sort of subtle finger grooves.
Yeah.
It almost feels like a backward step in a way to go to the later lower.
I'll always
Both are good.
find a good excuse to get an MP5 in front of you.
I suppose we better say goodbye to it for now.
For now, it will return.
Oh, and this is an Enfield MP5.
So made
Made at the
Royal Armoury. Okay, so I think we've talked about this weapon before
Yes.
from Cold War, but let's look at it again. And let's
Why
look
have
at
you ruined it?
how can you ruin this?
Well, that's
You were
true.
never the biggest fan of the Carve 2.
No, I mean, I know HK haven't not sued people for trademark and copyright stuff. However, there was really no need to worry about the G11. You could have just had a G11. I don't know. I'm going to say in this case, they probably just went, let's be inspired by and go in a different direction.
Well, I have made a new version for you to take a look at. Well, I haven't made it. There was a weapon blueprint that made some changes.
Changes have been made. Oh God, it's like a WA 2000.
Yeah, it's
G11
pretty
knockoff.
clearly been inspired by
I prefer
the WA2000.
I genuinely prefer that to the base gun. The
This one
drum
of those-
mag, maybe not so much.
One of those times I've tried to show you something cursed and accidentally shown you something cool.
It's fine. Yeah.
Is that because it's just another degree removed from the G11?
Maybe. And just because once you accept it as a fictional gun in the first place, it doesn't really matter. I just prefer the look of it. Maybe the great big carry handle slot in the buttstock is questionable because you haven't got much real estate left there for the mechanism, whereas on the original it was like the G11 parts bin, which is what I call it because that's its secondary role in the manual, is you unclip the back end. It's just a cover for the action, the crazy Swiss watch action. You take that off, you're supposed to use that as a place to put your spare parts so you don't lose them.
I am sort of impressed with how much they were able to squeeze in onto this design to make it look like a WA2000.
I wonder if the person that was tasked with making this blueprint didn't really like the base gun.
But really liked
It
the
might be the same
WA2000.
artist. I don't know. Very, very rare I see a design that's bad design, and if I do, I'll subtly try and point that out. It's not my thing. But I think wood on more futuristic looking guns is sort of grown on me.
And the time period of Cold War, wood, the WA2000 itself, sort of fits. It's almost like, why wasn't there a WA2000 in the game? You remember Vanguard?
Yeah.
Vanguard isn't the most popular Call of Duty game. I have an affinity for it because this, I think, was one of the biggest videos we did back in the before times together. And I think the first time I showed you some really cursed stuff.
Yeah.
And for
probably.
that, I apologise.
Yeah, it's an odd one, that's for sure. Yes, the Welgun. So this is the Special Operations Executive, Station 9, Welin, not Welling Garden City, as I've been guilty of saying before. They're it's basically Q branch. It was the inspiration, clearly, I think. I don't think Fleming ever said it, but it clearly is, for Q branch in the Bond franchise. So they were doing their own thing. They were coming up with wacky stuff like the Well Rod, the Well Bike, paratrooper motorbike, like a mini moto thing. Well from Wellin, and then the gun, or object. This being a gun, it's the Well gun, submachine gun. So this is their alternate universe Sten gun, basically. Uses Sten mags, although this one doesn't lock in, interestingly, something I've been meaning to look into. So they tried to build a better mousetrap, thinking that the Sten wasn't good enough. Or I guess the Mark 1 Sten is what they would have been looking at. And they ended up with this. And it's not a bad representation. That muzzle device that I saw on there, is that on the base gun?
Yeah, this what we're seeing now is the base gun.
I've never seen it. We've got 2 well guns. IWM have 1. I haven't seen one anywhere else. There's no such muzzle device to my knowledge, unless they based it on something else. I believe our foregrip is original. The one on the IWM gun is not. Minor flex there. A good deep cut for a game like this.
Vanguard had a lot of niche weapons in it. It was another game that lent on prototypes or lesser known guns.
Yeah, so this didn't go into production. The juice was not worth the squeeze, and they just went with, so this didn't end up in trials till, it wouldn't have been the Mark 1 Sten they were looking at. This didn't end up in trials till late 43, at least, and it was up against the Mark 4 Sten, and the Mark 4 Sten was sort of what was intended to then carry forward, but then didn't, and then ultimately, this is trialed against that and the Patchett, which would become the Sterling, and ultimately it's the Sterling that comes out of that. But a lot later, like a decade later before the Sterling gets adopted. And there's the inevitable nonsense. That looks like a Madsen stock.
Yeah, attached at a completely different point to the stock that's already on the Welgun.
Attachments for like World War II vintage games where you would have to do serious engineering to the base gun. Try and make them fit in a way that someone could do in a shed, at least. Magically changing the shape of the gun to fit, I'm not a fan of. We've got the silly optic on there as well. Suppressor. Now, there's no suppressed version of this, as far as I know.
Was there a massive magazine for it?
No.
With a very tight right angle?
That's the snail drum, German snail drum, or an adaptation of it. SOE had its own suppressed submachine gun designs, including a hilarious one with a suppressor that was like 2 feet long. And they were all Stens, if they weren't well rods.
Not the worst thing we've seen in Vanguard.
In the sense that one could have built something like this with the technology of the period, I guess. It's me Bren gun, a true classic of Czech ingenuity with a bit of a British twist. We love the Bren gun. Now, of course, you've ruined it.
Yeah, sorry about that. This is my Bren gun.
Looks like they might just have kept enough of the back end for the buffer to still be in there and function. Like they just removed the wood bit. Because my first thought was, oh, they've removed the butt assembly, it's not going to function. But I think it might just.
Well, that's good at least.
Thompson, 1928 Thompson foregrip under there. I don't dislike that, weirdly enough. If the Bren had a failing, it's because it forced into a sort of assault role that it was not really designed for, and you didn't really have a convenient place to grasp it up front. They would just use the handle, or just hold on to the body of the gun. It's not too hot. Or they would bodge something on there, wrap some cloth around it, whatever. If you were gonna take it out in the jungles of Malaya, for example, it was used as a machine carbine in Malaya. Point man would have a Bren, looking over the top of the gun, firing under the arm, from the waist. They might look at this and go, let's have a go at that. The optic, well, you see, I was going to say the optic is okay because the Mark I Bren was fitted for an optic that was never issued. But you've done a rock in, rock out magnifier on a not a red dot, but like a reflex sight. That's the only thing on this, and maybe the charm, that truly upsets me.
You don't like the charm?
Well, that's kind of just expected. It's the optic that I'm taking real issue with.
Chris, would you mind taking a trip under the tree,
Oh
please?
no. It's an F.
It is an F.
I'm guessing there's some significance to that.
Oh, it's your surname and what I expected you to say.
My surname is not F.
What I expected you to say when you saw this thing.
My brain's quietly working on an F-off joke, but no. Wait, before I do this, did the base gun not have a bipod? Don't tell me this game didn't have a bipod on its Bren gun. Where's the bipod? I've never seen a Bren gun in service with the bipod removed. Oh. Ah, right. That's fine, that's a key ring.
Or a weapon charm.
No. Although it would be a little bit meta to hang that off the MP5 over there.
I wasn't expecting you to do so, but it would look cool.
I'll see if I can do it in a way that won't make conservation get me fired.
That's important. A fairly uncursed Christmas gift.
Yeah, thank you. For a moment I thought you were going to literally give me the F.
We wouldn't do that to you. The magazine, that's not working, is it?
I was just going to get to that. I don't understand. It could work if there's sufficient geometry and spring tension coming in from the side to get like one round the corner at a time. But it's going to be an unnecessary. Oh no, actually no, it can't. You're absolutely right. Yeah, there's nothing above the magwell. There's just a cover effectively, and everything's coming in from the side. Well, the side of a Bren gun is like thick steel. You're phasing rounds through the side of the gun.
You do recall what year that Call of Duty Vanguard takes place in? What period of time? Period of history?
The Second World War?
That's right. Do you remember this Second World War?
You may have heard of it.
Do you remember this Second World War weapon?
Surely that's sort of like an online Warzone thing, isn't it?
I think they added this into...
Tell me this isn't literally in Call of Duty Vanguard.
This is literally in Call of Duty Vanguard.
Why? How?
Time
travel?
I honestly don't know. If any Call of Duty historian out there can answer the question as to why the F2000 ended up in Vanguard, I think it was because they wanted it in Warzone and they needed to put it into a base game first.
God.
That's the only thing I can think of.
This upsets me on multiple levels. Firstly, that. Secondly, it doesn't look like an F2000 beyond a superficial resemblance. Well, a bit more than superficial resemblance, but it's not a good replica of an F2000. And thirdly, I guess following on from secondly, the case ejection coming out like it's a normal, like a submachine gun. Is it even in a rifle caliber?
Yeah, it's in the rifle class. It's in a rifle caliber that you can then customize into a submachine gun caliber.
They look like, I guess, AK cases or something, or 300 Blackout, something of that nature, quite short rifle cartridges. Still, they shouldn't be flying out the side of the gun. The F2000 just spits them out the front. The holes in the butt stock area are, A, don't make it look right, or make it look wrong, and then, I was just gonna say, there's a lot happening in the F2000 in the back end. So if you start putting holes in it, it doesn't work. That goes triple if you cut the back end off your not F2000 and stick a buttstock on it.
Yeah, and because this is in a World War II game, a lot of the attachments available for the gun are World War II.
Oh no!
So the flash hider, even the World War II inspired red dot.
How are they justifying this?
The magazine that shoots, what is it, Russian short?
It's called the F2000 for goodness sake. It gives you a clue as to which millennium it takes place, it exists in.
Very, very weird addition.
I don't like the gun, and I really don't like it being in World War II on any level. That's a 0 out of 10. Suddenly started rating things out of 10.
So we've seen World War II games have a modern firearm. Now we've got a modern game, the World War II firearm, sort of. I didn't know they'd put the STG-44 in until
Well, you're in
I went
luck,
back.
because they haven't.
Yeah, it's not really, is it? It's sort of, but not.
Yeah, it's sort of but not is a good way of putting it. I don't know what they're doing here. I don't know what the brief was. Is it meant to be a modernised? Because what it isn't is one of these with modernised parts. It's got a Picatinny rail set up on the top.
It fires 7.92 by 33.
Correct.
So they've got the cartridge right.
Yes. But the buttstock, I guess the buttstock's meant to be just a polymer version of the same design,
Yeah.
but it looks a bit weird. It looks more like matte black painted wood at first glance. And then the proportions of the gun seem to be off as well. It's quite a tall gun. And yeah, they've done what they did with the MP5 and made it too short.
But is this better than putting modern optics and customization on a period STG?
No. No, it's worse.
Because in theory, some manufacturer could make a modernized.
Yeah, they could, if they based it on this receiver setup, but that's just instantly wrong. I wouldn't, like, as a sort of thought experiment / in the right context, I'm not averse to, certainly you don't do it to real vintage guns, something like that. You know, like we talked about the modernised EM2 idea, just for funsies.
Yeah.
That's fine. And as the granddaddy of the modern assault rifle, fair enough to do that. Although, I wouldn't want it in the campaign, put it that way. But yeah, the fact that they've sort of legally different, like, they're not going to sue you guys for this, for a number of very obvious reasons.
I guess they just must have wanted to keep. They wanted to add an STG-44, but keep it within aesthetics of the rest of their guns. That's probably the main brief.
This is even worse.
Whatever do you mean?
Like a 3D printed grenade launcher on it.
Oh, that's a chainsaw?
That's a chainsaw. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Paying attention is the one thing I need to do. I've got an M1 Garand clip charm on there, which is upsetting me slightly. I'm guessing, you know, COD Zombies, anything goes. But
Yeah.
This isn't that. This isn't multiplayer. At this point, in multiplayer, anything goes, given the number of neon clowns running around. Old man shouts at clowns.
I think that rounds out our World War II modern crossover. But again, this is another weapon that I did not know was in the game.
Again, it's not.
It's not. It's actually not.
I'm just in denial at this point.
Stay alert, Black Ops. We got a bullet.
I don't like where this is going.
Why not? Just cook 2 guns.
I know.
Makarov. It's fine. You're fine.
For now, maybe. Yeah, so their Makarov is not Makarov, more correctly. They felt the need to not change it, so fine.
See, I did have an urge to change it.
Clearly. Incompatible attachment. Stop it! No! Spray bottle.
So this is why
Oh, good grief.
I asked you to grab a second
What
pistol.
is going on? Yeah, very clearly inspired by... Oh God, I've just realised.
You know why I asked you to grab the separate barrel now,
Yeah.
haven't you?
I've just realised that we can actually...
This is some
Against my-
smithing.
Against my better judgment. I can't quite do it, but... Because oddly enough, a Makarov barrel won't fit the chamber of an AMT automag barrel, which is what this is very clearly based upon. What they've actually done is mash up the Makarov slide with the barrelless upper receiver, essentially, of the AMT. From a certain angle,
You're most of the way there.
For your thumbnail. What am I doing with my life?
Important history.
Sometimes. That's the day job and the extended magazine. I mean, this, if you were able to graft this onto this gun, not really, it's going to increase, it's going to give you maximum muzzle velocity from the 9x18 Makarov cartridge. Do we care about that? Probably not.
Well, the cartridge and the combination of the barrel is, they call it the skull splitter.
Yeah.
It does increase the power and damage of the cartridge, I guess, to
Which is
reflect.
technically the case, yes,
Yeah.
but not in a way that really matters, I don't think. In fact, if you were to look at the sort of data on, like 9x18 was invented for this weapon. So I'm not saying it wouldn't have it. It would have some velocity increase, but it's going to be diminishing returns pretty early on, I think, because it's tuned for this barrel length. As like a fantasy design that you might put in a movie, I can't think what movie, something diesel punk, like a Sky Captain 2 or something, maybe. Well, not maybe. I think it's a fun design.
Pen down. Who wants to be 11?
Moment available.